All right, class. Yes. Okay. Oh, not bad, not bad. Okay. Better than yesterday, at least. Y'all were weak yesterday. Anyway. Hey, what's up, my dude? Hey, don't forget, today, you gonna do...
Today, 2?
Yeah. You gonna do 2 today?
Yeah.
Okay, or today and tomorrow. Alright. Okay. Alrighty. So for right here, this is page... What page is this?
9.
Hashtag 9. Today's date?
14.
There we go. Alright, so for this one right here, it's kind of a new type of problem, and I'm going to go over this right now. So it's a new type of problem. It's kind of like what we introduced yesterday. But yesterday when I introduced the perfect squares, you know what? It's super easy. Super easy. Perfect square. It's kind of like what we just did on the warm-up. Alright. So, watch this. So you guys could use the page underneath. Okay? You could use the page underneath. Since I already used that, I'm going to go over this with you. So, for this one right here, if I were to move this over, I would add 25 to both sides, right? So it's x equals positive, x squared equals positive 25, right? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Can we turn off the lights?
Yeah, go ahead. Nazbulo, can you get that, please? Thank you. Now, to undo a square, I have to square root. So it's x equals plus or minus square root of 25. Yes, I'm showing all the steps. Don't you? Me?
Too long. We know what 5 times 5 is.
Did you know what 7 times 7 is, though?
Oh. Okay.
X equals plus or minus 5. Yeah.
She really had to think about that.
No, she didn't. No. Yeah. Ugh. Okay. All right. Plus or minus 5. So I have 2 answers. Yes? Okay, so we have 2 answers, but it's going to say x equals 5 and x equals negative 5. Yes? Yes. Okay, so now I'm going to turn these answers into factors. We know that all factors equal 0. All factors equal 0. So for this case right here, I'm going to
set to 0.
Okay, by doing what?
Subtracting 5.
Subtract 5. So x minus 5 equals 0.
That's x plus 5.
And this other one right here, I'm going to add 5. So now I made 2 factors from that. Now, this is one that we could do by identifying it as difference of squares. Because it's x squared minus 25, this is a perfect square, isn't it? Okay. If you notice, it's x squared, right? There is no b value, and it goes to the c, right? So if it looks like this, and this is a perfect square, I have 2 terms. This is a perfect square, and it only works when this is a minus sign. It only works when this is a minus sign. So it is a difference of squares. It's called a difference of squares. So the difference means it factors into my perfect square, which is square root of 25 is 5, right? And difference of squares mean that they are different signs. So it's going to be x plus 5, x minus 5. So that's why it's called difference of squares. If you notice, I did all this work to here, and I got the same thing, right? But if you identify it as difference of squares, then you could jump straight to this. Just like if I identified this one over here as a perfect square, so square root of 49 is 7, and 7 plus 7 is 14, and then I could jump straight to this. You have to be able to identify these things. So, let's see. This first one goes to that there, and then we get plus or minus 5 right there. Now the next one is going to be x squared minus 5 equals 0. In this case right here, what am I going to do to try and get my x squared by itself? Add 5. So it's plus 5 plus 5. X squared is equal to positive 5. And to solve for my x, what would I do to get rid of the square? Square root. So x is equal to plus or minus square root of 5. Okay? X is plus or minus square root of 5. So if I write it as x equals positive root 5 and x equals negative root 5, if I want those turned into factors, all factors equal 0. All factors equal 0. What would I do to this one right here? Subtract square root of 5, right? It's got to be equal 0, so I'm going to subtract it. X minus square root of 5 equals 0. So now that it's equal 0, it is a factor. Same thing goes for this. Add square root of 5. So x plus square root of 5 equals 0. Now it is a factor. So we're going from solutions to factors. And back and forth. So this one here goes right there. And this one goes up there. Yes, go ahead. Now for my last one. X squared plus 25. So in this case right here, I need to subtract 25. You guys agree? Subtract 25?
Yes.
Okay. So x squared equals negative 25. Square root both sides, same steps happening. X equals plus or minus square root of negative 25. Now, can I have a negative inside a radical?
No, you can't.
No, I can't. What does that give me?
D indicate.
Nope.
5i.
What?
5i.
Yes, 5i. It's going to give me an I. Whenever I have a radical and I have a negative inside like this, it's going to give me an I value. And the I comes out. The I will come out, but then the square root of 25 just gave me 5. So this is going to be x equals plus or minus 5i. This negative turns into I. This 25 turns into 5. And now turning it into a factor. So x equals 5i. X equals negative 5i. Right here, subtract 5i from both sides. X minus 5i is 0. X plus 5i equals 0. Are we okay? Okay, so the interesting part of this was my difference of squares, so I can identify things and go straight to the answer. All right, let's see right here. Sometimes solutions aren't real. What are solutions to these equations? So same steps right here. How would I undo my square? Square root. Thank you. So it's going to be x minus 5 equals, now, it's going to be plus or minus square root of 0. So it's just 0, isn't it? Square root of 0 is still just 0. What am I doing to both sides? Add 5. So x equals 5. So how many solutions did I have there? 1. I only had one solution there. This one right here. Same steps every time, step by step. What am I going to do to undo my square? Very good. So it's x minus 5 equals plus or minus square root of 1. Square root of 1. It's just 1, isn't it? Okay, it's just 1. So I know this is going to be a plus or minus 1. But what am I going to do to this to try and get my x by itself? Add 5. X equals 5 plus or minus 1. Okay, so now what are my two solutions for this going to be now? It's going to be 5 plus 1, which is, and it's going to be 5 minus 1, which is, there's my two solutions. And do you guys remember about the solution set? The weird braces? So it's going to be 4, 6. There's my solution set. Okay? Now, for this next one, same steps. So, square root both sides. X minus 5 equals plus or minus square root of negative 1. A little while ago, what did I say the square root of negative 1 is? I. So that's going to be an I, isn't it? Plus or minus I. And to get x by itself, I'm adding 5. X equals 5 plus or minus I. Now, because I is the complex part, I is imaginary. So that means not real. 5 is a real number. I cannot put these two together. So my two solutions is going to be x equals 5 plus I, x equals 5 minus I. That's a minus. Come on now. Minus I. There we go. And as solution set, all right, we good? Okay. Now, for this one right here, I know we were having troubles with this the other day when I was going over it. I'm going to go step by step. This is the same thing that we did on 315, and we did this one also on 316. So we're going to complete the square. Okay. The key thing that we have to look for, I'll write it up here, is my b divided by 2 squared. Now, Do you guys recall what was the first step to completing the square here? No, not ABC. Move it to the left. In this case, it's to the right, right? Move the C value. So it's going to look like this. X squared minus 8x equals, so I'm going to subtract 13 from both sides. Negative 13. The key part, this is the key. This is the key right here now. So for this, it's going to be x squared minus 8x plus. Now, b is negative 8, isn't it? So negative 8 divided by 2.
4.
Okay, so it's negative 4. Negative 4 squared. 16. Positive 16. Positive 16. So it's plus 16 here equals negative 13 and plus 16 here. So I'm adding 16, my key ingredient here, to both of these sides. Now, this is a perfect square now. This is a perfect square, right? Because 16 is a perfect square of 4, and 4 plus 4 is 8, isn't it? Okay, so there's my perfect square. So now I'm going to write down x. What goes here next? What goes right here?
Plus 16?
Not plus 16, plus,
8.
no, not plus 4.
It's minus 4.
It's minus 4. Why is it minus 4?
Because of the negative 8x.
Yes, it's b divided by 2. This one is always b divided by 2. So b divided by 2, so it makes it a minus 4 squared equals negative 13 plus 16, positive 3. Now, we have completed the square there. We completed that. Now, the next thing is just solving for the variable. What's up?
Where'd you get the 3 from?
Negative 13 and positive 16. Now we're going to solve for it. So I'm going to solve just like I did up here. So to undo this square, I'm going to square root. So that's going to be x minus 4 equals plus or minus square root of 3. Yeah? So now to get x by itself,
Add 4.
add 4. So it's x equals 4 plus or minus square root of 3. And in all these cases right here, I am solving the equations. Solving the equations means get x equals. This means x equals something. Okay? So from right here, I could write x equals 4 plus square root of 3, and x equals 4 minus square root of 3. And solution set. All right, I'm going to give you people, about 2 minutes. Use the same steps we just did here and do this one right here. Yes. Yeah. So, same steps, you're doing this one here. Same steps.
Okay, so it's b divided by 2. Your b, so negative 4. Okay.
What the heck is that? Oh. You getting a phone call or something?
Well, it's 3, right? So it should be I. Yeah.
Should we put 3i?
Mm-hmm. No, not 3i. I don't think it's a 3.
Where would it go? 4 or 2?
Square root of 3. Did you square root both sides?
Yeah, then I got the square root of negative 3 and stuff.
Okay, yeah, but the square root doesn't go away. You don't just drop it and put 3. Does that make sense? All right, so I'm going to go through step by step. X squared minus 8x equals negative 19. X squared minus 8x plus, this is going to be b divided by 2 squared is 16 equals 19 plus 16.
Wait, I thought that was positive, 19.
It is positive right here, right? And to move it to the other side, I have to subtract it, don't I?
Oh,
So I subtract it to the other side, so it becomes a negative 19 here.
So then what is
Where is it 16?
So then that'd be negative 19.
Hold on. This is negative 19.
Exactly, but the one.
I know, but right there.
Oh.
Okay, sorry. Okay, 16. That's my magic number right here. That's my special number. So it is my b, which is negative 8, divided by 2 is negative 4, right? And negative 4 squared is positive 16. So that's the number that goes on both sides. And then from there, it's going to be x minus 4 squared equals negative 3 in this case. So thank you. I kind of missed that negative on that one. All right, so from there, I'm going to go through and solve for x. So that's going to be x minus 4 equals plus or minus square root of negative 3, right? Okay, and right here, because the negative is on the inside, that becomes,
Square root of 3i.
that's an I, right? That's an I. It's going to come in front of my square root of 3. So x equals, and I'm going to add 4 to both sides, 4 plus or minus I radical 3.
Jesus Christ. Yes.
So my two solutions,
Maybe I don't want to do calc.
4 plus I radical 3, 4 minus I radical 3.
Does the 3 go from a negative to a positive? With the I?
This right here? Yes, we are taking out the negative from inside there. So if we take out the negative, that's only positive left.
Throw it up.
Okay, go. Alrighty. Now, on this right here, it says how many real solutions does each equation have? How many non-real? So, I want you, from page 2 in your notebook, I taught you guys how to graph it. You're graphing this one, and this one right now. I want everyone. So I'm going to come around, and so I know you guys didn't tape this in yet, so I just want to come around and see your cover. Just show me the cover of your notebook, and so I can give you points. So I'm coming around and checking that right now.
What time is it? Because I didn't use my phone.
That's what I'm hearing.
Why do you get 2 more points? Okay, thank you. I don't know. Turn it over, please. Yes, that is the homework. Checklist is on page 1. You can just add. Okay, I got you. Oh, I forgot about you? No, I saw you were. I just marked it. All right, so let's take a look here. So if you put this in the calculator, let's see. I'm going to doc B, clear my stuff so I could start over. Calculator x squared minus 8x. And the first one was plus 13. There we go. How many solutions do I have for this one?
Yeah, 2.
I have 2 solutions because it crosses the x-axis twice, right?
Yeah. That's great. Set to 0.
Yeah. Equals 0. Yeah. Wait, no, that one's still gone.
Zero.
Yeah. Look at your problem. Right here, this equals 0, right? That's what I'm looking for. Okay? And those are my solutions there. All right, so now the next one, tab up and change that to 16. How many solutions do I have there? I have 1 solution, don't I? How many times did it cross or touch the x-axis? Just once, that's it. And let's see. And tab. And my last one is 19, isn't it? Okay, good. There we go. Does it cross the x-axis?
No.
No. Now, right here, okay, if it doesn't cross, is it equal to 0 anywhere? No. Okay, it's what? It's imaginary. So on this one right here, you only have, so if you look at the notes that we did the other day, and it was on 15. Oh, it's right here. My notes from 315. 17, 16. Right here, down at the bottom. You guys remember this right here? Right here, down at the bottom. Do you guys remember this? Okay, so if it was equal to 0, I had 1 solution, right? We had one of those. Greater than 0, 2 solutions. And if it is negative, it is 2 non-real solutions. It's always going to be 2 non-real solutions, not 1 non-real solution. It is going to be 2 non-real solutions. So if we go back to this one right here, and it is not crossing that line at all, if it's not crossing that line at all, there is 2 non-real solutions there. That's the key. You could use your calculator to answer that. So, there we go. So, on this one right here, we had 2 solutions. Right here, we had 1 solution. And here we have 2 non-real. Okay, so this next one, how the graph to the functions answer to the previous question. Okay, so now for this one right here, I could actually plug this in the calculator to see what I get. So I'm going back to my calculator. And let's go back to the first one, which was 13.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use my calculator to tell me where these are at. So I got 2.27 and 5.73. Going to my calculator part, and I'm going to check the answer I got when I did it on the other side of my notes, over at 17.3 for my notes. So my answers were 4 plus square root of 3. My answer was 4 minus square root of 3. guess what? Same answers. Same answers. We have some that are approximations of the answer, which is, that's the decimals, right? But they are the same. They are the same answers. Now, the one thing that we did not get correctly, so this one right here is the same. This one's going to be the same. This one is, what was wrong with this? Doesn't cross the x-axis. Oh, what?
Don't?
Yeah, don't cross the x-axis. Sorry.
Don't? You said don't.
Remember that when I'm grading your homework that you didn't turn in.
I'm trying to think of Davis. Wait.
Let's do now.
Now.
All right, you guys.
Stop again?
Okay, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button, and let me see. 316 is going to be due tomorrow. 317 is going to be due on Thursday. All right.